Good morning, friends. It's Wonderful Wednesday. How is everybody? Are we ready to work on the bag some more? I finished all the mesh last night. Well, I should say the good crochet fairy came and finished all the mesh last night. So we're ready to start on the top of the bag now and the handles. So I'm very excited about that. Angie, good morning. Lea Pin Llamas, Miss Leah in the house. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. It's hump day. Everybody's excited about a little Wednesday action. So, once again today, this is probably going to be the final day we work on this bag, but we are working on the Choose Your Own Adventure tote. We worked on the base of the bag last Thursday. You can rewatch the live from that over on YT. The middle of the bag, the mesh, we worked on that yesterday. And today, I'm very excited. We're going to be working on the top of the bag and the handle. So I don't know if I'll have time to finish it this morning, but we'll definitely put a big effort into it. Seeker, good morning. Thank you so much for the heart me. And good morning. Buenos dias, Paloma. Good morning. Good morning. How are you? So I'm using 100% cotton. We're using an H8, a 5 millimeter crochet hook. I'm using two different colors of yarn. The mesh was a variegated yarn we used, and then the base was a plum. So we're going to switch back to the plum color to do the handles. I completed 15 rows of the mesh. And so now we're going to start doing the handles. If we look at the handles and the top of the bag, what we're going to do, this is very easy for the top. This is a very beginner friendly bag. We're going to do 3 single crochets in each of those loops across. And then we're going to do a total of 6 rows of single crochet. Then we're going to do the handles, and then I'm going to come back and optionally you can frame in those handles. So that's what we've got on the agenda for today. Hey, Mom, good morning. Welcome in. Pam, good morning. Welcome, welcome. Kelly with an I in the house. Debbie, good morning. How is everybody today? Yes, this is the colorway plum uh, in cotton sprout. So again, an H8 5 millimeter crochet hook. I'm going to get these single crochets started. We'll wait for some more people to join on and then we'll talk some more about this bag. So I'm going to begin with a slip knot on my hook. And then we're going to pick a spot on our bag to start. It doesn't really matter where you start. So I'm just going to choose one of these loops. Okay. And into each one of these loops, we're going to do 3 single crochets. Then we're going to move to the next and do 3 single crochets as well. Let me tilt this down just a smidge. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit here so we can see these stitches. All right, so here we go. Let's get this party started. Happy Wednesday, everybody. It's hump day. How about that? We're almost halfway through the week. Well, I guess by the end of the day, we'll be halfway through the week. So, single crochet, 3 into each of these stitches. So, into the top of the loop there, we're just going to do 3 single crochets. Hang on. I got to get this situated here. Cassie, good morning. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the heart me. Paloma, thank you so much for the roses. So I hop to the next chain space and we're going to do 3 single crochets in the top of that. So we're just going to work those all the way across so that we can start the top of this bag. Okay. It's going to kind of cinch these stitches up a little bit as we're going, and that is by design. Okay. So do our 3, hop to the next space, and 3 single crochets. Marie, good morning. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the follow. So, friends, we have been working on the Choose Your Own Adventure tote bag. And this pattern was created and released last week by our very fabulous Miss Lea Pin Llamas, one of our moderators here on the live. She's one of my good friends here. And so I'm very excited about her tote. This is the 3rd bag that I have made or I'm working on making. And I'm really enjoying this. So, what makes it a choose your own adventure tote? All of you are sitting there scratching your head going, well, why is it a choose your own adventure? And do you guys remember when you were kids and you used to read those books that were the Choose Your Own Adventure? I know I read them as a kid. My mom used to get them for me and my brother. We loved them. Um, it was like you start reading and it says, if you want to raft down the river, turn to page 65. If you want to go up in an airplane, turn to page 35. And then you keep going and you just keep, every time you choose a different way, it turns out different, right? The story. So it's kind of fun. You could read the book multiple times, multiple ways, and always have kind of a different ending. And we loved that as a kid. So, what Miss Leah has done is she has made it so that the base of the bag, it has a very nice crocheted bottom. It's very sturdy, and all of the bottom patterns stay the same. The part that changes is the stitches that you do in the middle of the bag. So this option that I did is the mesh part of the tote. The other options that she currently has written on the pattern are for a V stitch or a granny stitch. So right now with the pattern, you could choose 3 different ways to do the pattern. And then the top and the handles all stay the same. And she is currently working on more stitches to come. So the middles will be able to have even more options for the Choose Your Own Adventure tote. And she'll be releasing those as new chapters that are like supplements to the pattern. So once you have the bottom like done and figured out, and then the top, all you'll kind of be able just to change up those stitches in the middle and have a different looking tote every time. So it's a very, very cool concept. Amy, Miss Leah will share with you where you can get this pattern, but it is called the Choose Your Own Adventure Tote, and she released it last week. And we're doing the mesh option. So right now I'm working on the top, and I'm doing 3 single crochets into each of these chains that we made. So in right in here around the chain, we're doing 3 single crochets. Um, let's see here. I know Leah is so smart and creative. Hey, mom, good morning. Welcome in. Vicky, good morning. Barbara, thank you so much for the follow. Danny Lee, good morning. Nice to have you here this morning, friend. Thank you so much for the heart me. Vicky, thank you for the go populars. I appreciate that. So hop to the next space and 3 single crochets. And then hop to the next space, 3 single crochets. Now this bag works up rather quickly, and it is beginner friendly. So I think if you needed a little Mother's Day gift, you could certainly get one of these completed in time if you've got a daughter-in-law who's a mom, or one for your mom or grandma, or maybe your daughter is a mom, all the things, right? This is a great little tote bag that you could still whip up and get ready for Mother's Day. And it's really nice just to have some tote bags kind of finished around if you need a quick little gift for like a teacher or somebody at church or a friend, coworker, any of those things. So this bag is really kind of fun to do. But again, remember guys, 100% cotton. This is a 4-weight cotton that I'm using today. And I'm using an H8, a 5 millimeter crochet hook. Now, friends, if you missed how we did the bottom of the bag, you can always go back and rewatch the live replays that we did. So this morning, I am live on both TikTok and over on YT. So we're always live on both. And then if you go over on YT, you can rewatch those. So if you missed it, you can certainly see how to do that. But she has a full written pattern too, if you just want to follow the pattern. Mello, good morning. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the roses. Kelly, good morning. Thank you for the heart me. I appreciate that. Have a seat. Good morning. Welcome in. Kayla, good morning. Kayla said, good morning from Florida. Thanks for taking time to teach on here. Most certainly. Most certainly. I do love to do a little crochet stitch talk. So we're kind of been talking through how to do this bag. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. So right now on deck for this morning, we're going to have a lot of single crochets. And we're going to do a total of 6 rows of single crochets. Then we're going to add the handle. So right now I'm just working along the top. You can see where I'm doing the single crochets here. So in the top of each of these loops, okay, so this was the mesh chains that we did. In the top of this chain, I'm going to work around the chain and we're going to do 3 single crochets. So there's 1, 2, and 3. I try to put mine kind of close together. They kind of naturally will fall into place. Then I'm not chaining or anything. I'm going to skip right to the next chain and we're going to do 3 single crochets in that one. And so I'm working those all the way around. Angela says, I got to ask, are you an Auburn or a Bama fan? Roll Tide. Well, I hate to break your heart, Miss Angela. I am originally from Arizona. And so I don't really follow college football at all. But my dad was born and raised in Green Bay, and so I'm a big Packers fan is kind of where my allegiance lies, if you will. But yeah, college football is a big thing here in Alabama for sure. We see Auburn and Roll Tide everywhere, and everybody's got a pretty strong opinion. So there's that. Okay, so again, skip to the next space, and again, 3 single crochets right in the top of that chain. I'll tell you guys, my allergies are going crazy right now. I don't know if anybody else is experiencing that, but everything is in bloom right now here. So if I sound a little congested, that's why. Okay, so we have finished all the way around with our single crochets. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to join with a slip stitch right here to my very first stitch that we did. Okay, so I'm just going to sneak under both the front and back loops here and we're going to do a slip stitch. So I bring my yarn through. So I have 2 loops on my hook, and then I'm going to pull this loop under this one. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do 5 more rows of single crochet into all of these stitches that I first did. So the thing is, as you do these single crochets, they look a little wonky. Okay. So they kind of aren't really sitting straight. You can see how they're kind of look a little roughly. Don't worry. As you do more of these rows, it's going to flatten itself back out. So the way that I do this is I go right into that first stitch that I just slip stitched into, and I do a single crochet into that first stitch. Then I'm going to do single crochets all the way around. We're going to have some time to chat this morning because we've got a lot of single crochet action to do. Now, I really like to identify that first stitch that I just made with a little stitch marker. So I'm going to pop one in there to my first stitch. And now all we're going to do is single crochets all the way around. Jules, good morning. Thank you so much for the heart me. I appreciate that. Yeah, everybody's kind of suffering with the allergies, right? Who is sick? I just saw that somebody's having a spell. Oh, Vicky, I'm sorry, friend. You've got a little case of the bronchitis, huh? Shan, good morning. Welcome in. Nice to have you here this morning. Mary, good morning. Welcome, welcome. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Wednesday. So our crabapple trees are in full bloom. They have beautiful pink blossoms on the crab apples. And we've got 2 of those trees that are right next to each other. So I went and checked on them, and they are absolutely gorgeous right now. Really pretty trees. Do I do anything with the crab apples? No, I do not. But I enjoy the pink blossoms. They are so pretty this time of year. And we do have 2 pear trees. We have Bradford pears as well. Bradford pears, we don't do anything. The fruit is not like edible or anything. The birds eat it. Um, but we have 2 regular pear trees as well. And one of them had already bloomed, and then we had that cold front come through. So I don't know if it's going to do anything to the fruit this year. Those fruit trees, those 2 pear trees, they're like canning pears. So they're actually hard. Like if you think of like an apple, that's kind of how those pear trees are. They're not like the what are they? Bartlett? Is that what they're called? The ones that you get in the store that are nice and sweet and juicy, that you just want to eat. That's not how our pear trees are. Our pear trees are more like canning pear trees. So they're kind of more like an apple. In the past, I have canned the fruit from those. I made pear slices, but they're really difficult to work with, those pears. You have to actually peel them, and you can't peel them like you would do a peach. Does anybody canned peaches where you blanch the peaches, you put them in boiling water and then you blanch them in an ice bath and then the peels come right off? Our pears, they don't do that. So I had to sit here in my chair with my paring knife and I don't know, I think I picked like 10 pounds of pears off the tree. Oh my gosh, it was so much work. So, needless to say, after that first year, I canned pear slices. I made some whiskey pear jam that actually was really good. And then I made some uh, pear sauce. So you know how you make like applesauce? Um, Probably some of your grams made it back in the day. I made that with pears. And what was really interesting about our pear trees, guys, I'm just working on single crochet. So we're going to have some chit chat here today. We'll talk about a little bit about my fruit trees and some canning. Um, the pigments that were in the pears, my pear sauce, and when I canned the pears, they actually turned this delicate, beautiful pink. So my pear sauce, think of it like applesauce, but with pears, is actually pink. I didn't put any coloring or anything in there. It's just the way that it worked out. It was so cool. Kitty, this is two different colorways. Right now, I'm using the colorway plum. We're working on some single crochets. We're working on the top of the bag. The variegated, I don't remember what the variegated was called. Miss Leah will pin these two yarns that I'm using. Yes, royalty. Thank you. This part is Hirschner's cotton, but 100% cotton today, and I'm using a 5 millimeter and H8 crochet hook. JT, good morning. Welcome in. I hope you're feeling better, friend. JT's been a little under the weather. Um, I was talking about our fruit trees because right now everything is blooming out here. So I am definitely sure to take my allergy pill every morning. I haven't had it yet this morning, so I'm feeling a little snotty if I'm being honest. Anyhow, then our first year that we were here, I say I, but we planted a peach tree. And so we planted a peach tree for my mom. We gave my mom a peach tree for Mother's Day and we planted it here. So that way, when she comes through, if we have peaches on her visit, she can, have some peaches. But more so than that, she's like, oh, you can go ahead and do all the canning and the work, and I'll just take whatever you can with me. So that worked out too. But it's kind of fun because every time the peach tree blooms, I of course immediately think of my mom and all of that. So we kind of planted that here in her honor. And then continuing with that tradition, for I don't remember, was it my birthday or something? My mom, she gifted us a bunch of fruit trees as well. So we have a second peach tree that we planted. We have a couple apple trees and I think two different plum trees. I had planted a fig tree, and the fig tree did not make it. My grandpa had figs in Arizona, and boy, that fruit tree that he had, that fig, it was loaded with figs every year. And I remember going to grandpa's and getting figs off the tree. We would eat them right off the tree, you know. Stacy, good morning. Thank you so much for the heart meat and the Go Popular. I appreciate that. Kitty said, I'm in Florida. I have mangoes. I have over 1,000 a year. Oh, nice. I've made mango jam before. I got some at what is it, Aldi? Yeah, Aldi. I get Ollie and Aldi mixed up. Aldi is the one that has the produce. So I think we get too much rain here for figs, unfortunately. I don't know if they do well where we're at. We get a lot of rain too, Miss Kelly. So I don't know. Kitty said mango jam, barbecue sauce, popsicles, and frozen drinks. I bet you could make a refreshing adult beverage with those mangoes. That would be kind of fun. So, anyhow, I think this year we might actually get some fruit on our trees. I don't know. We had that cold snap come through, and it may upset the whole balance of things. Um, but we'll see. We did get some peaches on my mom's tree last year, but The birds got them all, so I have to put, like, netting. Oh, and the deer. So the deer love the pears and the fruit as well. We have a lot of deer that come through. So I don't do as much canning of those anymore now. I just, a lot of times the critters get them. We had a groundhog that was chowing down on some pears and the birds. V single in space. Do you do a single stitch in single stitch? I have not made the V stitch have a seat. I've only done the mesh. So, Miss Leah will hopefully be able to answer that question. I've only done the mesh option for the Choose Your Own Adventure tote. So I'm back around here. We're on our second row. We're getting ready to start our third row. So I'm going to pop out this stitch marker. I'm going to join with a slip stitch to my very first stitch. And then we're going to be ready to start the third row of single crochets. So let me do that. And I'm going to go ahead and put in my single for the first stitch here. Let me do a couple and kind of get this going. We've had quite a number of new people pop on, so I wanted to recap what our work in progress is today. I'm going to put a stitch marker in my very first stitch here. That way, when I come back around, I can identify that. For the mesh, when you're on your mesh, I put 3 single crochets in each of the loops that we did. Just a Gen X girl, thank you so much for the confetti and the heart me. I appreciate that. Sally, good morning. Welcome in. Thank you for the follow. Today we're talking about the tote bag. Okay, so we're working on the Choose Your Own Adventure tote bag, and we're working on the top of the bag. So last Thursday we made the base of the bag on the live. Yesterday, we came back and we worked on the mesh, the middle part of the bag, and now we're doing the top of the bag. So after you finish your mesh, you're going to put 3 single crochets in the top of each one of the chains of the mesh. And you're going to do that all the way around. Now, the Choose Your Own Adventure tote, I'll kind of talk about that in just a moment, but let me show you what we're doing right now. So we are right here. We're getting ready to start row 3. We're doing a whole bunch of single crochets for the very top. By a whole bunch, I mean we're going to do 6 rows of single crochets. We're going to be stacking those up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I actually have 7 because after I do the 6th row, then we're going to start the handles and attach those. Then I come back around and I single crochet around the handle and around the top of the bag. I feel like it just makes it a little more sturdy. So right now we're just doing a grip of single crochets as we are working around. So we're getting ready to start our third row. We still have 3 more after this. Tina, good morning. Grandma Pollock, welcome. Good morning. Thank you so much for the heart me. Tina, thank you for the heart me. Queen 530 in the house. How are you, friend? How are you? Thank you for the heart me. I appreciate that. So the pattern that we're doing today is called the Choose Your Own Adventure Tote. This was a pattern that was written by none other than our fabulous Miss Lea Pin Llamas. And I really am enjoying this tote bag. This is the third one that I have made, and it works up very quickly. So if you need kind of a quick project, it's great for that if you are looking for something to kind of whip out before Mother's Day. If you have some GIFT you want to do, this is a great option for that. Miss Leah will pin where you can get the pattern, but it is called the Choose Your Own Adventure Tote. Queen, thank you for the lucky senses. Laura, good morning. Thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate that. Jay Marquez in the house. Good morning. Welcome, welcome, everybody. So the Choose Your Own Adventure Tote, the thing that's really cool about this pattern is the base of the bag stays the same. The top of the bag and the handle stay the same. The part that we are changing is the middle part. So the way that Leah has written the pattern, she has 3 different options for us to choose from right now. So just like you would choose your own adventure back in the day when you were reading the books and whatnot, you can choose either the mesh, this is the mesh, or she has written a V stitch or a granny stitch. So right now with the initial release, there are 3 different options for the pattern. Now, she is actively working on more adventures for us. So she's going to be releasing more chapters to come of different stitches we can put in the middle. Now, I will tell you, I've made 3 of these, and I already have the bottom and the top of the bag memorized. So it's a really easy pattern to sit here in your chair, plug in your favorite show or audiobook or whatever, and you can kind of, start to commit this to memory and make it really an easy project to just kind of mindlessly crochet along. And I kind of like that. I like that feeling. Tina, thank you so much for sharing the live and for the finger hearts. Just a Gen X girl, what is your favorite cotton brand? Well, I have to say, I have kind of wavered on this a little bit. This is a great question. There are a lot of different ones out there. Um, for years, I have used the I Love This Cotton from Hoblob. Now, as I've branched out more with different cottons, I find that the Hoblob is very linty. You know what I mean? When you're working on it and then you wash it, and it just, even when you're working on it, it has quite a bit of lint. So, Hoblob, although it used to be high up on my list, has kind of fallen off a little bit. However, I do still use the Hoblob and I do like it. I have made wearables with it. I've made some bralettes, and it's a nice soft cotton. It is an unmercerized cotton, and so it's very nice for that application. As of late, I have been using cotton sprout. That's what this purple is. This also is an unmercerized. This is in the colorway plum that I'm doing right now. And with Joanne's, it has forced me to branch out into other um, sources, I guess we could say. And I have used a lot of Premier in the past, but this Premier cotton sprout yarn, um, I am a huge fan, Gen X girl. I am a huge fan. It has the same feel as the I Love This cotton, but it doesn't have all that lint. And so, if you were to ask me right now today, I really like the Premier Cotton Sprout. It's very soft. Now, if I'm doing stuff around the kitchen, I still will use Lily Sugar and Cream, Peaches and Cream. I really like the Hirschner's um, like value cotton that they have. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it's kind of a rougher cotton, right? So if I'm making that kind of stuff, then I still like those cottons as well. And I do like those sometimes for tote bags as well. So did I answer that question? Yeah, no, probably not. I like a lot of them for a lot of different reasons. But I would say probably my favorite right now for stuff like this is the cotton sprout. I like all of the different colorways and all of that stuff. Um, I do like the mercerized cotton as well. We're going to probably be working on a new mercerized tote bag next week. So I have some other colors that I've been playing around with, but we're going to do one of the bases and all of that stuff. The yarn barn is not done, Miss Tammy. Not yet. We're still working on it. I'm waiting on some more shoe racks to come in. They are held up in transit, I guess you could say. So I'm waiting. It says they're supposed to come the middle of April. So until I get more of those racks, unfortunately, I'm kind of on hold in the yarn barn with getting more stuff on the walls. So we're kind of in a holding pattern right now. Hey, Allie, good morning. Joni, good morning. Welcome in. How is everybody today? We're working on another bag this morning. Well, the Choose Your Own Adventure tote. Angela, thank you so much for sharing the live. I appreciate that. Winky Face, good morning. Thank you so much for the follow. Martha, good morning. Joyful Rosetta in the house, good morning. Um, let's see, where was that about the hipster? Where? Oh, Marla. Miss Marla, good morning. Welcome, friend. Yes, I have used the hipster cotton. I like it. And I've made some tote bags with the hipster cotton. Now, the thing with the hipster cotton is it is a 3-weight cotton versus a 4-weight. So it's a little bit thinner cotton, but it still works. Okay, I'm joining with the slip stitch here to our very first stitch. We have completed round 3 of our single crochets. So now we're getting ready to start round 4 of the single crochets. We need 5 of these before we can start the handles. So remember, pop your stitch marker in to your very first stitch. So that way, when you come back around, you will remember where you started. Um, how many chains in the mesh? There are 5 chains. So what I did, Vivian, is in the top of the chain, I did a single crochet. Then I chained 5, and then I did another single crochet in the top of that stitch. Dog Mama, good morning. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the heart me. Joyful Rosetta, thank you for the popular. I appreciate that. Good morning, Loris. How are you? Let's see. Yarn place called here Yarn Barn. Yeah, yeah. That's what I've been calling my little barn that we put up for the storing all the yarn. So, guys, a little bit about the bag. We're getting ready to start the next round. Right now, I'm working on single crochets, but this is kind of where we're at with the bag. Last Thursday, we worked on the base of the bag. If you missed how to do that, you can rewatch that over on YT under the live tab. There's the part 1. Yesterday, we did the mesh on the live, and you can rewatch that replay as well if you need help with the pattern of how to do the mesh. Today, we are working on the top of the bag where we're doing 6 rows of single crochets along the top here. I've switched back to the plum color, and the handles will also be in this plum color. So where we're at right now, I'm just getting ready to start row 4 of these single crochets. So we're going around and around and around the top of the bag until we get 6 single crochet rows. Then we're going to start working on the handles, and we're going to attach the handles to the bag. After I get the handles attached, I do go all the way around the handles with a single crochet and get that kind of attached to the bag just to make it a little more sturdy. So that's kind of where we're at in the project. As I'm doing these single crochets, we kind of have a lot of time to do some chit chat. Um, Joyful Rosetta, have a great day. Thanks for stopping by this morning and hanging out with us. I appreciate you being here. So we are on row 4 of the single crochets. And guys, I'm just going around and around. I'm going under both the front and back loop, and we're doing single crochets, 1 in every stitch. So it's really, really easy to do this stitch. We're just going around in circles until we have a total of 6 of these rows. So the first row, we did 3 singles around the chain. And then we're stacking on top of those, just kind of putting a little flat part here on the top of the bag. And then we're going to, like I said, we're going to start the handles. But if you are new to this pattern, we've been working on it for a few days now. This is a brand new pattern that was released by our good friend in here, Miss Lea Pin Llamas. Leah has done an amazing job with this pattern. She will share where you can find it, but it's a lot of fun. It's definitely beginner friendly. It is fun to do though, even if you're more of an intermediate or an advanced crocheter as well. Sometimes you just need some in between projects, right? Where you can, do something a little simpler. It's fun to put together the different colors of cotton yarn. Deborah, good morning. Welcome in. The yarn that I'm using today is 100% cotton. We definitely recommend cotton for this tote bag. I am using a H8, a 5 millimeter crochet hook. This is a 4-weight cotton that I am working with. This pattern itself is called the Choose Your Own Adventure Tote Bag. So, what our gifted and talented Miss Leah has done is she has given us 3 different options for the middle of the tote bag. So, as you're working this pattern, the bottom stays the same. So, where we did the sturdy base down here, everybody loves a sturdy bottom, I'll tell you. So, it's nice. This is all the same for the base. The part that you are choosing the difference is in the middle right here. This is the mesh that we're doing. The top and the handles all stay the same. So she has 3 different options. Number 1 is the mesh. That's what we're doing. We're getting a little meshy up in here. She also has a V-stitch option, and she also has a granny stitch option. So within the pattern, there are 3 different adventures that you can choose from as you're creating your bag. So the bottom will stay the same, the handles stay the same, and then you choose how you want the middle to be. And as we are working on this bag, she's already released the first adventure. Now she's working on additional adventures for us. So soon to come, she's going to have more stitches for the middle of the bag, and we'll be able to change out and do even more bags within the bag. So it's a very, very cool concept, and I absolutely like it. Dorcas, good morning. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the follow. Robin Red Nest, good morning. Well, I'll tell you, our redbirds here, they are very active here in Alabama. We have quite a number of redbirds, but we have a lot of robins as well. So lots of birds here in our neck of the woods. Thank you so much for being here this morning. Miss Maria, good morning. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the follow. Let me see if I can translate this comment. I don't know if I can't see that comment. Maybe somebody could help answer Maria's question there that has the translate thing. I can't do that on the live for some reason. Um, but anyhow, I know we have a number of friends who are making this tote bag, so it's really a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see all of the different colorways that people choose and which adventure they end up going with. I'm super excited to see all the different possibilities. Let's see. Vivian said, we'll make this bag with many colors. Looks like fun. I know I like to do the variegated in the middle, but you don't have to do it that way. You could do a solid bag, all one color. You could do different colors, like you do if you wanted like a 4th of July bag, right? You could do uh, like red, white, and blue. You could do something like that. You could do a fun bag for spring. There's so many different possibilities. Along with a solid color bag, always is nice. But these are great for if you, need a little bag to go pick up some groceries. I will tell you, if you want, you can put a ton of yarn in these. They do hold quite a bit. So they're just nice to kind of have around. And the other thing that I really like about tote bags, as I said before, they make really great GIFTS. So if you need something to give the kids' teacher at school, or maybe a coworker, or the holidays later on in December, if you need a little stocking stuffer, or the other big thing that's coming up is Mother's Day. There's still plenty of time if you need one for Mother's Day. There's plenty of time still to get one of these made. I can make one of these in one day. So if that gives you an idea, now I would have to work on it quite a bit during that day. I don't know how many hours it'll take me. I haven't actually timed it, but it's definitely possible that you could have something done before Mother's Day if you needed something. So Vivian says, trying a tropical look, lime, yellow, and orange. Oh, that's really cute, Vivian. It would look cute if you had a little like keychain holder that was like a citrus slice or something, where you could put like your AirPods or something in there. Wouldn't that be cute? As kind of like a little citrusy vibe thing that hangs inside the bag. That would be really cute. Mine is red and white. However, I'm making mine wider. Oh, nice. Have a seat. So you're going to make a little bigger size. Nice. I love when you rebel it up like that and modify the pattern. I don't know if Miss Leah likes that, but I think she does. I think she likes us to experiment and adventure out and have our own creativity when she makes these patterns. I think she's a big proponent for that. So here we go. We're back around. Here's our stitch marker. Let me join with a slip stitch to the very first stitch. And guys, all we're doing this morning right now is single crochets. We're going to be starting the handles here fairly soon. So pull up a loop, slide this guy underneath that guy as a slip stitch. Now I'm going to go right back into that same stitch, and I'm going to start my first single crochet. We need a total of 6 rows of the single crochet. So after I get a few stitches in here, I'm going to go back. I'm going to mark my very first stitch that I made with my stitch marker. That way I will know when I come back around. So we are getting ready to start row 5, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have this one, and then one more, and then we'll be ready to start the handles. Hey, Miss Hannah, good morning. Welcome in, or good afternoon, I should say. Patterns are meant to be played with. Modify it, make it your own. I'd love to see what you do. That's right. I think of a pattern as a set of recommended guidelines, right? So, y'all know I sometimes will change up patterns and add different stitches. I know not every pattern writer encourages that, but I am a big proponent for rebelling it up. If you have a stitch that you don't feel comfortable with and you want to substitute in a different stitch, I think that's totally fine. I do that quite a bit. If you have something where, have a seat, I think was one that was making it a little bigger, and you want to make your bag wider, you have a different application for it. I say, do your thing. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Vicky, good morning. Welcome in. Mama Bird, good morning. Thank you so much for the heart me. Happy Wednesday, y'all. It's wonderful Wednesday. Happy hump day. Halfway through the week. Leah said it right there. I love that. Who am I to tell another artist how to art? That is a very, very profound statement there, Miss Leah. Look at her pulling out all the stops this morning. I think that's just like how everybody picks different colorways for their project. Yeah, it's along those lines. I think that's really cool. So I'm glad Leah encourages us to do that. We do love our stitch talk and getting down with the stitches and picking different things. And she's gonna have a lot of fun variations to come for this pattern. So you guys be sure and check this out. Even if you're not ready to make a bag right now, definitely you could save the pattern to use for later as you're getting the need to make another tote bag or something. But it's a great little pattern to have. So right now we're working on the top of the market tote. We're doing 6 rows of single crochet. I'm doing a single crochet in each stitch. And then we're going to come back and we're going to add the handle. So for the top of the tote bag, they are all the same where you do 6 rows of single crochet along the top. The part that changes in the choose your own adventure is the middle of the tote bag. So the bottom stays the same, the top stays the same, and then you choose the stitch that you want in the middle. So we have done the mesh stitch in the middle. So the bottom stays the same, the top and the handle stay the same. The part that is different in the choose your own adventure is what you put in between. So I could have done this with a V stitch in the middle, the mesh, or I could have done a granny stitch if I wanted it more of a solid look. So there are lots of possibilities of how to do the pattern within the pattern. It's kind of slick. And Leah is working on more stitches to come, more adventures that we will eventually have different options for the tote bag. Again, the top is going to stay the same, the bottom's going to stay the same. We'll just keep changing out the middle. So it's really cool. Kelly said I would like to make this with a crossbody strap. I thought about that too, Miss Kelly. I really thought that would be a fun way to do that. Vicky, good morning. Thank you so much for the heart me, my friend. I appreciate that. Did I see that Leah is a philosopher? Did I see that comment? Did I read that right? Not only is she a crocheter, a knitter, but now she is a philosopher. Yeah, all those things, right? Liz, good morning. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the follow. And Robin Red, I appreciate the follow as well. Thank you so much for being here this morning. Friends, if you are new to the channel, my name is April. I am a hobby crocheter. I come live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings at 7:30 Central Time. And I typically stay on anywhere from 1 hour to 2 hours in the morning. I do work full time and I have to go to work so I only have a few hours to spend every day in the mornings. But that is our live schedule: Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays at 7:30. So make sure you turn on the little bell if you would like. We are live this morning, both on TikTok and over on YT. So if ever you have to hop off the live and I was right in the middle of something that you really wanted to make, you know how that goes, right? And you've got to get the kids off to school or you have a work meeting or something, you can always go back and rewatch the live replays over on YT. My handle over there is Wheeler 8 Acres. All my socials are the same. So I just come on here to have a little coffee and chat with my friends in the morning and do a little stitch talk about yarns and patterns and all the things, right? Zian, I don't know if I said that right. Good afternoon. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the follow. I love your little flower there. It looks like a hyacinth. I do love hyacinths this time of year. I have one volunteer hyacinth that pops up, and it is that pretty purple color. So pretty. It just volunteers up in the yard every now and then. So I do love springtime, but my allergies, I'll tell you right now, are going a little crazy. So we're back to the very beginning here. I'm going to pop out my stitch marker and I'm going to join with a slip stitch to my very first stitch. You know what? Let's talk about this stitch right here. Let's do a little stitch talk here. Let me zoom in so y'all can see these stitches. I'm going to pull out that stitch. Hang on. Let's come back here. Okay. So this is my very first stitch. This one right here. Can you see that little guy? I'm going to go into this next stitch with a single crochet here. Now, do you see how there's a stitch in between? This is where my first stitch was. I have one that is chilling right here. What I have found with my crocheting, when I do my slip stitch, I will actually skip this stitch right here, and I'm going to do my slip stitch into that very first stitch. So as I'm finishing, I don't do one in the very last stitch right there. I'll go into that new stitch, and I do a slip stitch. So what happens is that stitch right there, when I do the slip, it lays in place of where that second to last stitch was. I'm not sure if everybody does it that way, but that is what I have found. It helps to keep my stitch counts more accurate. Okay. So I skip that last stitch, then I join with my slip stitch. Then what I do is I go back right into that very first stitch that I came out of, and I do a single crochet into that very first stitch, and that's going to start my next round. So this is my last round that I'm doing. I think, let me count: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is round number 6. Okay. So we need a total of 6 rows for the top of the bag. Next, we're going to be starting the handle. So let me put my little stitch marker back in there in my first stitch. That'll help remind me as I'm coming back around. Mama Herrera said, I do that too. Okay, nice. Well, it's good to know that I'm not the only one that does that. Sometimes I think I do these things and I might be the only one that does it. Kelly said, I feel like my allergy shots are failing me. I think it's because there's so much pollen, Miss Kelly. You know, Alita, good morning. Thank you so much for sharing the live. Special K in the house. Good morning. How are you? Amy, have a great day at work. I hope to see you back tomorrow, but I hope you have a great Wednesday. Amber, good morning. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the follow. Chicken Nuggets in the house. You changed your handle. What happened to the friggin'? The chicken nuggets? Part of your handle's missing, right? I swear that's what it was before. Am I wrong? Anyhow, good morning. It's nice to have you here. This morning, friends, if you're just popping by, we are working on the Choose Your Own Adventure tote bag. This was written by our fabulous Lea Pin Llamas. You see her there in the chat. She's one of our moderators here. She also moderates for the amazing Miss Magical Unicorn, Miss Maggie. And so, anyhow, a lot of you guys know her friend. This is the original. I added the friggin' when some kids were talking about middle. Oh, okay. Okay, got it. I knew it was different. Anyhow, y'all are testing me here with your handles. Then you'll go changing your pictures, and then I really get lost, right? KK, good morning. Welcome in. Welcome. Thank you so much for the follow. So, anyhow, friends, today we are working on the Choose Your Own Adventure tote bag. I'm going to finish this round 6 of the single crochets. And then it is going to be time to start working on the handles. I'm so excited. The handles, tote bags have a lot of different ways to construct the handles. I really like how Miss Leah wrote the handle pattern for this bag. I feel like it is really easy to do. A lot of the handles that you'll see me do is where you do a single or a chain, and you'll do a big chain loop like over the top of the bag, and then you have to work into those back bumps of of the chain. You guys know that little handle situation? Yeah, the handles we're going to do for this bag are not like that. They are much easier to do, in my opinion. So we're going to work on those, and you guys are going to be like, oh, yeah, those are cool handles. I mean, they're not anything like super spectacular. They're just single crochets. But the fact that you don't have to work into a chain, I think a lot of you are going to be like, oh, yeah, I like those handles. So, anyhow, it's a very, very cool pattern. But this is called the Choose Your Own Adventure. The bottom of the tote bag stays the same. Let me turn this so we can see. The bottom of the tote bag stays the same. So, all of the bases are this kind of single crochet look to them. The top of the bags are all the same where you have your single crochets. Next, we're going to do the handle across. Okay. The part that changes for this tote bag is what stitch you put in the middle. So that is where you choose your own adventure. This is the mesh version, which I have done with a variegated yarn. And now I'm doing solid plum for the handles and the base. Um, the other middle stitches that you can choose from on the pattern, there is a V stitch and there is also a granny stitch. So if you want a more solid looking bag, you would choose the granny stitch. Now, Miss Leah is actively working on more patterns to come, more adventures, I guess you could say, that she's going to be releasing. I think she said she's going to be releasing or trying to release quarterly that will have new adventures. So again, the bottom's going to stay the same. The top's going to stay the same. And it is relatively easy to commit that pattern to memory because on the top here, all we did is 3 single crochets in each chain. And we're going to do a total of 6 rows of single crochet. I mean, I can remember that. It's pretty easy, right? So the only thing that is changing is the middle stitches, and she has got some really cool ideas for bags to come where they're fun, festive, all sorts of different stitches that she's going to be releasing. So I'm really excited to see what her magical brain comes up with because she really is a true artist when she's creating these things. Katia, good morning. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the follow. Robin and Constancia, good morning. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the follows. Ivy, look at those tulips in your handle. Those are beautiful. I love the little tulips. Welcome in and thank you so much for the follow. Friends, if you are new to the channel, my name is April and I am a hobby crocheter. I've been crocheting for 41 years. I learned from my mom and my grandma. And my mom, you'll see sometimes here on the chat. If you see Mama Wheeler, that is who taught me how to crochet. I was 9. We were taking a trip across the country. I grew up in Arizona, and we were going back to Illinois to see my grandparents. So we hopped in the motorhome and we did a road trip across the country and I wanted to learn how to crochet. My grandma crocheted, my aunt crocheted, my mom crocheted, and I really wanted to learn. And so it was on that road trip that we went back to Illinois where my mom first taught me how to hold my crochet hook and make a granny square. That's what I first learned with. And for years and years and years, like 30 years, that's all I did was granny squares. That's me right there. There she is. Guilty. Mama Wheeler. My mom taught me how to do a granny square. And for 30 some odd years, that is all that I did. Now, when I learned, There wasn't an internet. There wasn't, crochet on TV or anything like that. So you kind of learned from your family or from a book. And so it was kind of an art that was passed down from generation to generation. Obviously, now I have expanded my crochet skills with the onset of YT and TikTok and all the different tutorials and yarn artists out there. And so that's why I come live, is to maybe inspire somebody to take up the crochet art. Maybe you've been thinking about it. Maybe you've been wanting something to do in your spare time that was kind of a positive, get you out of your mind and be able to relax with some beautiful yarn. And so that's why I come live, is maybe to inspire somebody. We do a lot of stitch talk here on the live. Now, we've last two lives, we've been working on this tote bag. And so last Thursday, we did the base of the bag, this base right here. You can watch the live replay of this over on my YT. Whenever we're live on TikTok, we're also live on YT. And then you can go back on the live tab and rewatch how we made the base. So it has kind of a flat bottom. There's some spaces in the bottom. So that way, it allows for like the dirt and whatnot to fall through your bag. So it's kind of cool. And so, anyhow, all of the Choose Your Own Adventure bags have the same base. They also have the same top. Okay, so here's one in green. You can see the base there. Here is the top. We're working on this band right here in the purple now. We're going to do 6 rows of single crochets. We're on our very last row of single crochets. And now what we're going to do is we're going to start working on the handles. And the handles are single crochets. Now, I messed up on my handle and I made it too fat on this green one. We've got one extra row in there. So I'm going to be sure and do it correctly on the purple bag. But that's what we're going to be starting next, is the handles. Okay, so we're just working our way around. As we finished the mesh, we did 3 single crochets in the top of each of those chains. And then we're working the single crochets on top of that. So this is round number 6. One second, my nose is running away with me here. Pardon me. Vic, good morning. Thank you so much. Yeah, aren't these fun colors? You can really choose whatever colors you want. Now, very important, as you're picking your yarns, make sure you're using 100% cotton. Okay, I'm using a 4-weight cotton. And anyhow, be sure and use a 4-weight if you can. I have made it with 3-weight. It just makes for a much smaller bag. Dolphin Lover, good morning. So sorry to hear about your loss. Sending love and hugs and prayers your way, my friend. Lori, I use a lot of different cottons. This one is from Premier. It's called Cotton Sprout. I also use cotton from Hirschner's, Hoblob. I use Hobie cotton. Um, who else do I use cotton from? Lion Brand cotton. There's lots of different possibilities of cotton out there. You can get it at Wally World. If you have a Wally World, there's peaches and cream, lily sugar and cream. Any of those would work perfectly fine for a tote bag like this. Those sturdier cottons work really well for that kind of yarn. Let's see. I may have missed some of the comments here, guys, as I was talking through those stitches and stuff. Have a seat said, I like the thicker handle. Yeah, that's one of the beautiful things. We'll talk about that as soon as we're getting ready to start the handle, and kind of talk through how you can do your handles and whatnot. So we are getting ready now to come to our end. Okay, so this is where we started, right here, right at the stitch marker. Now we're going to um, pop out our stitch marker. We're going to join with a slip knot to the very first stitch that we started out with. Okay, and this is going to be where we end our bag. Now, one of the things I want to talk about when you're doing your bag, if you are savvy when you are starting out with the single crochets, what you could do is position where you're going to start your handles as you're coming out. So if Wheeler had been a little more savvy in where I started the single crochets, I would have maybe slid my stitch where I started over here rather than over here. And the reason why is because then I would immediately be able to start into my handle. Okay, so as you're doing it, you want to kind of go along your bag. And Leah probably has the exact stitch count of how to do this. However, I kind of eyeball it and wing it. So what I do is I make sure my base of my bag is flat and I flatten out my stitches. Okay. Then I will take my stitch marker after I've folded this flat and I will put a stitch marker in the sides here where the edge is. Okay, so we're just kind of eyeballing how to do these handles. Now, again, if you want to count and all that, you most certainly can. I'm sure she has that detailed in the pattern. But as you know, I'm one for kind of winging it. Okay, so those are the sides of our bag. Now what we want to do is we want to position our handles kind of in a bit from the side. Okay, so we don't want the handles way out here at the side. We want to kind of pull them in. If we look at my green bag here, you can kind of see where I positioned those. So if I was to fold this in half, I'd have my stitch marker here. Then if we count how many stitches to the edge, you could see how many I had. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I started the handle 10 stitches in. So again, I don't exactly know what Leah's pattern says. Sorry, Leah. I know I'm bad. I'm bad for being a rebel. But, 10, 12 stitches in from the side is kind of where I want to place my handles. Okay. So as I'm looking at the side here, I've marked the edge. What I'm going to do now is we're going to count over on each side, get out some more stitch markers. I know y'all are shocked right now. I'm trying to get them out of my little bin here. We're going to count over like 10, 12 stitches, whatever you're thinking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here is stitch number 10. Okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay. So if this is our edge right here, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Okay, so we counted 10. We're also going to count 10 this other direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here is number 10 on this side. Okay, so that's kind of identifying where we're going to put our handles. Now I can go to the other side again, and we're going to do the same thing. So as I mentioned before, you see how I started the handle here in this chain? Had I been a little more strategic when I was first starting my chains, I probably should have done my starting 3 stitches right here, because then what would happen is I didn't have to snip off right here in order to start my handle right here. Now I could do a slip stitch over until I get to that point as well. Let's kind of count and see how it feels and we'll go from there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is 10 right here. So if I needed to, I would have to slip stitch over a couple stitches to be able to start my handle. So does it make sense when I'm saying like be strategic about where you start your chain? If you don't, it's not the end of the world. Obviously, we can snip off here and we can, start again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here's 10. And then after I get those placed, I definitely try to like check the alignment and make sure that we're good. Okay. Make sure that it kind of lines up and makes sense. Forrest, thank you so much for the rose. I appreciate that. Okay. So make sure that they're kind of aligned and looking the same. So now I have to make a decision. Do I want to slip stitch over? This is where we're going to start the handle right here. What do y'all think? Do you think I should snip off here and weave in my tail? Or do you think we should just try a slip stitch action and see how it looks? Should we wing it? I think maybe we should wing it. It's only a couple stitches. It's only a couple. So I think it could work. And I don't think it's going to be noticeable. All right. Let's try a slip and see how it works. So I go through the stitch and I pull through. We're going to pull this one under here, slip stitch. Slip stitch sits very flat to our work. Senior Day thrifting. Well, have a great day, Mom. I hope you find some good stuff out there. So when you slip stitch, it kind of makes it so that the stitch is a little fatter through there. But honestly, I don't think anybody's going to be the wiser. I say we go with it. Okay. So let me pop out my stitch marker. This is where we're going to start the handle. So now I need to slip stitch into this stitch here as well to get ourselves in position to start doing this handle. Okay. Does everybody see how I got myself over there? So for the handles, we are going to do 5 single crochets. This is a little different handle. You don't have to do that chain and work back into the back loop and all that stuff. Priscilla, thank you so much for the club cheers and the wink wink. Thanks for being here this morning. I may have missed somebody else popping in here. Megan, thank you so much for the rose. I appreciate that. Where'd my crochet hook go? Oh, it's in my work. Okay, so I'm ready to start the handles. Let's focus here, April. Let's do this right. I'm going to go into that first stitch where I had my stitch marker, and I'm going to do a single crochet. Into the next 4 stitches, I'm going to make a single crochet into each one. Again, going under both the front and back loop for a total of 5 single crochets. Now, you'll want to remember where you started here. If you're new to crochet, make sure you're marking that. Once we start working the handles up, it's going to be real obvious. But for this first one, you may want to mark that. Okay, so we've done 1, 2, 3, 4. Here is number 5. Okay, that technically is our first row of the handles. Nana, good morning. Welcome in. Megan, thank you so much for the heart me. I appreciate that. Priscilla, good morning. How are you, friend? Now we're ready to work back the other direction with our handle. So I'm going to turn my bag and we're going to work a single crochet back in each of these stitches. Now, there's 2 different ways you can do this. Traditionally, before you turn your work, you would chain 1 and turn your work. And then you can either have this chain of 1 count as your first stitch, or some people will work another single crochet back into that same stitch. What I have found when I do this is it gives me a little bump here on the side. Do you see how that stitch is kind of hanging out there? I do not like how that looks. So when I work single crochets into each other, I do it a little different. Nana, thank you so much for the dolphin and the hand hearts. I appreciate that. And the hi bear. Thank you. Thank you. Amanda, good morning. Welcome in. Thank you for the follow. Okay, so let me show you how I do my single crochets when I'm working these. Um, as I come out of my single crochet, instead of turning with a chain, a turning chain, all I do is turn my work. Then what I do is I work a single crochet into this very first stitch. And what I found is this stitch lays flatter along the side of my handle in this case. Then I'm going to work 4 more single crochets across. Here's 3, 4, and number 5 single crochet. Okay, so now we've completed round 2 of my handle. Now I'm going to work again back the other direction, turning on the handle. So if you are a fan of chaining 1 and turning, that is what you would do here. If you want to try it different, I just turn and I work a single crochet into that very first stitch. This is now round 3, row 3, where we need 5 stitches. That's 4 and 5 single crochets. Okay, see how we're starting to get our little strap to come up there now? It's looking really good. Okay, so we're just going to go back and forth. We need a total of 75 rows. 75 of these rows. So again, I'm going to turn. I'm going to work a single crochet into that first stitch and then 4 more. So every row we're going to have the same 5 single crochets. Okay, again, turn, single crochet in the first. This is so much easier than working into the back bump if you were to do a chain. So I'm just going to keep turning back and forth, back and forth. And I don't even turn my entire project. Like I don't flip the bag over, right? I just turn the bag a little bit and then I turn it back the other direction. And now my bag's back flat. And then again, single crochet into that first stitch. We need 4 more. There's 3, 4, and 5. Look how easy and fast that is working up. Now, one of the questions that gets asked is, well, how strong is that handle? Right? That's what y'all are sitting there thinking. Well, with those single crochets, how strong is it? So if I pull on this, yes, we have some stretch. Do you see that? See how there's some stretch? What I like to do for these bags is I like to come back. This one I actually did 6 single crochets instead of 5, but I come back along the sides of the handle and I put a single crochet along the edge. What that does is it puts a crochet the opposite direction, which allows it not to have so much stretch because this single crochet helps that handle not to stretch. Okay, so that is my recommendation. If you are concerned about how much the handle is going to stretch, come back around and put this single crochet. Not to mention, when you take the time to do a single crochet all the way around, the edge, it looks so much prettier to finish that and make it like a finished edge. Yes, this looks fine, right? There's no arguing. This looks fine the way that I've done it. However, when you take the time to put that single crochet all the way around, it's like putting a polish. It's like when you get all dressed up and then you throw on the diamond necklace and the diamond studded earrings and now your outfit is complete because you've got that finishing touch. You know how you just needed that little bit of sparkle? Yeah, that's what this does, is it puts a beautiful finished edge on your handle. So that is what I would recommend. It does take a little time to do it, but I highly recommend learning how to do that and just really taking that time to put the finishing touch on your crochet work. What it does is it elevates your crochet. So it makes it so that it's like, oh, I'm no longer a beginner. I'm crossing that threshold. I'm moving more towards intermediate crochet. When I start thinking about those fine details and the finished edges and all of those things, you can start to elevate your work just with taking a little time and adding a uh, little finished edge. Let's see. Leah said, definitely be adding it to the pattern for the next chapter. What are you adding? The around the edge? I don't know if it's even in the pattern. Um, I tried thermal stitch, but it's so thick it takes forever. This single crochet works great for handles, you guys. It really works great. I had never ever thought about doing a handle like this. I have always been doing a chain and then I work into that chain, right? I don't know if I have any of those bags next to me. I don't think I do. I put them all on my coat rack and I don't have any. But it really helps to elevate the work when you do that. And I really like yeah, it's like the framing. It's like framing a picture. That is a great way to explain it. So, the stitch looks fine, right? The handles look fine. If this is all you want to do, that is totally cool. However you feel comfortable. But if you want to try to put a little polish on your edge, let me get this handle straight here. When you add that single crochet, we're talking about this single crochet all the way around. We're going to do that and make it just have a little more polished look on it, and it really evens out that stitch. I don't know what the thermal stitch is. I'll have to look into that, but I will tell you right now, if it's time consuming, I'm probably going to be a hard pass on the thermal stitch. Also, if stitches are too thick or too dense, I'm not really a fan of those either. I really like when it looks pretty, it's delicate, kind of more of that look. So I don't know. I do like more of a closed in stitch when I'm doing my baby blankets, but I still like to have kind of a textured fun look Leah says you're going to loathe the thermal. All right, well, there you go. Leah knows me best, I'll tell you. She's up in this brain all the time. So, anyhow, oh, JT, spicy JT's in the chat. Anyhow, guys, I'm just turning back and forth, back and forth. And you can see without doing that chain when you turn, it really makes it more efficient because I'm only having to work into those stitches. I'm not having to deal with that chain. I'm just turning back and forth. And we're going to do a total of 75 of these rows. Once we get our 75, then we're going to attach it to the other side of our bag. So I'm just going to keep working these. Chicken nuggets, have a great day. Thanks so much for stopping by. Have a wonderful Wednesday. It's hump day, y'all, halfway through the week. Tomorrow, we're going to be working on a baby blanket. I'm going to be doing a ruffle on it. It's the baby blanket that I'm making for my new great nephew. Um, it is the what did I call it? The Baby J blanket. His first name starts with a J. I don't want to say what his name is, but I think we're calling it the Baby J blanket. So that is what we've got on deck for tomorrow. We're going to be making a ruffle on that baby blanket, a little scalloped border. The rest of the baby blanket is complete. I'm working on another baby blanket for my husband's friend. They're expecting their first baby, and Mr. Wheeler said, "Hey, can you make them a baby blanket?" They're having a baby girl, so I am trying to get that one done as well. But we're going to work on my great nephew's blanket. He was born a couple weeks ago, so I told my mom. I said, "Well, I'm late, but I don't think my great nephew is going to know if the blanket shows up a couple weeks late. He won't notice for quite a while, so I think we're fine." So yeah, yeah, you won't catch me thermaling. If it's a thick, dense stitch, I'm usually a hard pass on that. So uh yeah, I crochet in my living room. I don't know, it's a cool setup. I could have so much in there. Oh yeah, the yarn barn. So the yarn barn that I have, some of y'all have seen me working on the yarn barn. The yarn barn is for storage. Now I am going to have a couch out there because I want to be able to sit when I'm going through my yarn and everything. I have lupus, and so I really like inside the house. Right now, I'm sitting in the living room. I'm in my recliner. I have two cameras in my face because we are live on TikTok and on YT. I'm watching the TikTok comments on my tablet. I'm watching the YT comments on my TV. So it's kind of a full like setup thing. I have two microphones going. And honestly, to try to do all that out in the yarn barn would be really difficult. Now, could it be done? Yes. I'd have to run um, uh, internet out there, Ethernet, and probably get like a Wi Fi booster or something. It would definitely be a whole thing to try to get that set up. So, my yarn barn is more for my yarn overflow storage, and I'm going to continue crocheting inside. Also, I like to be close to the restroom. Yeah, I'm one of those gals who sits here and then I'm like, I really should get up and go. And then I keep sitting here because I'm just going to finish this row. And then 5 minutes later, I'm still finishing that row. And then I say, oh, I really need to go. Is anybody else like this? I know if there's a nurse or a doctor, they're like, that's really bad. You should be getting up and going. And so, anyhow, then I'm like making a mad dash because I've really got to go. So having the restroom close to me is also equally important. I like being able to go in the kitchen and get my iced tea, get a little snack, all those things. So having the conveniences of the house with it not being out in the yarn barn is kind of a plus for me. And I really like, um, having my recliner and whatnot. And it's climate controlled. We did not insulate or climate control the yarn barn. So there's definitely some pros for staying working in the house, if you will. So the yarn barn, yes, is for yarn storage. I still have a lot more work to do out there. I'm waiting on more shoe racks to come so I can organize the cakes and I did get all of the yarn totes out there, but there's a lot of cakes in the totes. So I'm kind of waiting on the Zon to bring me my yarn racks that I need. Go figure. Guys, right now I'm working on the handle of the Choose Your Own Adventure tote. If you are just popping on, we have been working on this bag since last Thursday. We started it brand new, fresh. We worked on the base of the bag. Yesterday, we worked on the mesh, the middle part of the bag. And today, we are working on the top of the bag and the handles. I'm trying to get through the handles while we're on the live so we can see how to attach them. So, right now, what I'm doing is I am doing single crochets as I'm yakking, trying to get this handle finished. We need a total of 75 rows of single crochet. We are doing 5 stitches across. So I'm turning my work back and forth. I'm working both under the front and back loop, and I'm just doing one single crochet in each of the 5 stitches. Now, I am opting not to chain when I turn. However, if you are a fan of a turning chain, go ahead and do that. There's nothing wrong with that. So instead of just turning right here, a lot of people like to chain one and then turn their work. Now, they will use this chain one as either that first stitch, or sometimes people will put another single crochet back in that first stitch. What I have found happens with my work when I do that is I end up with kind of a wonky looking bump right here on the side. And so I kind of feel like it adds some added bulk to my handle. And so I really don't do that. Now, again, it's entirely up to you. As I've said with most things, with crochet, there are no right or wrong ways to do something. There's no crochet police going to roll up in your living room and be like, you can't do that. You do what feels comfortable for you. So if you feel comfortable doing a turning chain, by all means, go ahead and do that. How I do mine when I'm working a single crochet is I don't chain. I just flip my chain or my handle over, and then I work a single crochet into that first stitch. We need a total of 5 single crochets. Here's number 3, number 4, and 5. Okay, and then again, instead of chaining right here, I'm going to turn. I'm going to go back the other direction. So into the first stitch, I do my single crochet and I work back and forth like that. Now we need a total of 75 of these rows. So at some point, I'm going to have to stop here and count these stitches. Carrie asked, do you think Tunisian stitch would look good as a handle? It absolutely would. You most certainly could substitute a Tunisian stitch for this. That would be totally fine as well. Nancy said, good morning. You weren't on yesterday for 2 hours. I missed you. Oh, I'm so sorry, Nancy. I think I was on for like an hour and 15 minutes yesterday. I had a lot of stuff to do for work yesterday. I do work full time. So if I have to go into the office early, aka walk to the other room, and get an early start on my workday, I don't always stay on for 2 hours. But Nancy, if you missed and you want to go back and rewatch, you can always rewatch on YT. The video is out there from yesterday if you missed the live. So feel free to do that. Yes, Papa Wheeler will turn up in your living room if we were marked safe from crochet police. That is right. Papa Wheeler, in all honesty, wouldn't have a clue if I was doing it right or wrong. So there is that. Okay, here's where we're at on our handle. I need to count these stitches. So let's go ahead and do that as we're counting. Now, the very first stitch that I did, let's get our scissors, was this stitch right here. Okay. When I'm counting these, they kind of look good in groups of 2 where they're easily identifiable. So as I'm counting these stitches, I'm going to count them in groups of 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40. Here's 40, this grouping right here. So really, I have 41, but let's mark this right here at 40. I need a total of 75 stitches, 75 rows of this. Uh, Kathy, you can rewatch yesterday's live on YT. Um, as you're looking over there, my handle is Wheeler 8 Acres. Okay, all my socials are the same, guys. We are live this morning, both on TikTok and on YT. Anytime I go live, I'm pretty much always on both. Then you can go back and you can rewatch the replay. So, yesterday when we worked on this bag, we worked on the mesh part, this part right here. Last Thursday, we worked on the bottom of the bag. So this video is on and this video is on. Right now, we're currently creating how we did the top and also how we did the handles. Okay, so YT, Leah will answer what that is for me, or more Miss Kelly, which if I have any mods here, they can help with that. Um, TikTok doesn't like me to say what it is. So anyhow, you can always go back and rewatch the live replays. As you're looking at my page, you will see there's a category for videos, there's a category for shorts, and there is a category for live. So this morning, after I'm done, you can go and rewatch from the very beginning. Uh, Under the live tab, you'll see, and the picture that you're looking for is this green tote. Okay, look for these green ones. There's going to be 3 parts. Um, Vicky said, for handles, I don't count my rows. I just use my measuring tape. Hey, whatever works for you, girl. A lot of times people do that. It makes a total sense for me. I'm somewhat trying to follow Leah's pattern here since I am talking about it. I want to try to stay true, but I will say it's hard for me to do a pattern from start to finish and follow all of the rules. Kathy said, I'm almost done with my bag, but we'll be making more. That is awesome. Awesome. I love that. There's a lot of people making the bag. Clovis, YT, Miss Leah will answer that. Ladybug, good morning. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Welcome in, friends. If you are new to the channel, my name is April. We're very glad to have you here. I'm a hobby crocheter, and I come live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings at 7:30 Central Time. And I usually stay on from anywhere to 1 to 2 hours, depending on my work day and what I need to get done. So I do work remote. I live in Northeast Alabama. We're about 50 minutes south of Chattanooga, if you want to picture where I'm at on the map. I'm originally from Arizona. My husband and I, we relocated from the Phoenix area. Um, it's been 5 years now that we've been here in Alabama. So we basically moved out of the big city and we wanted more of a country life. I turned 50 this year. I do still work in Arizona. And so that is why I'm able to come on live in the morning, is because I don't have to be at work until 10 a.m. Alabama time is 8 a.m. Arizona time. So it gives me time in the morning to hang out and drink my coffee and do a little stitch talk and all the things with my friends here on TikTok and on YT. So, anyhow, that is kind of my schedule. We are live this morning both on TikTok and on YT. The project that I'm currently working on is the Choose Your Own Adventure tote bag. Again, we started this last Thursday. We did the base on the live. Yesterday, we did the mesh part of the bag. And then today, we're working on the top of the bag. And now we're working on the handles. The handles are single crochet. And so all I'm doing is 5 single crochets. I'm working a single crochet in each stitch. And I'm just turning my work back and forth as I go along. This is one of the easiest handles I have found to make, and I really enjoy this part of the pattern because she made it so darn easy. So that is one of the things. Yes, that is a long way to drive to work and back, right? Have a seat. I drive Leah will kid around with me and she'll say, how was the commute this morning? I'm literally walking like 50 feet from my chair to my home office. And I'll say, hey, traffic was good this morning. Diesel did not get in my way. So Diesel is my dog's name, Diesel and Mo. So anyhow, uh, thank you so much, Pat. I appreciate that. Benjamin, good morning. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the follows. Thank you for sharing the live. I appreciate that. So, friends, this bag that we are making was created by our fabulous Lea Pin Llamas. You see her there in the chat. Miss Leah created this bag for all of us. It is FREE. She will pin where you can find this tote bag, but it is beginner friendly. It's very easy. You use 100% cotton, and I'm using a 4-weight cotton. The yarn that I'm using right now is called Cotton Sprout in the colorway Plum. And then I used a variegated for the middle of the bag. Little Red, good morning. Thank you so much for the stickers. Aren't those cute? We got a little fun spring stickers happening. I know y'all are ready for spring. It's definitely officially spring here in Alabama. I don't know about in the rest of the world. I know in Arizona it was like 109 the other day, and it made me go, yeah, I'm glad I'm not in Arizona anymore. M with love. Good morning. Thank you so much for the follow. Miss Carla, thank you. Miss Carla said I do amazing work. I appreciate that. Sparky says I have flowers on my tree. Same Sparky. My crabapple trees are beautiful. They are really pretty pink blossoms right now, and both trees are absolutely covered. So it definitely feels like spring around here for sure. We're working on the handles of the Choose Your Own Adventure tote. And what makes this a choose your own adventure is the way that Miss Leah has designed this pattern is the bottom of the bag. Okay, this is the base. We made this the other day on the live. It is a solid base. However, it has holes in the bottom where we skipped stitches to kind of give it an airy feel. That will allow the dirt to kind of fall through your bag. You know, when you go to the beach, you get some sand in there and you're like, oh, good grief, I've got to get all that out. Well, this will allow you to shake it out. Shake it on out. So we did the base on Thursday. The base for the Choose Your Own Adventure stays the same. The handles and the top stay the same. So as you're looking at these, this is one that's completely finished. So again, same base, same top, and then same handles. We're working on the handles of the purple one right now. The part that is the choose your own adventure part is this part right here in the middle. I chose to do the mesh option from the pattern. So we were doing chains and we ended up with this meshy look of the bag. The other option that she has created is you can do a V stitch or you can do a granny stitch for here in the middle. So however you choose to do the bag, the bottom and the top remain the same, and then you change out the middle. So let me count my stitches here real quick, guys. Let me see where we're at. We were at 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, 50. Let me move my stitch marker up here to 50. So we have 50 rows. Vivian, I did 15 rows of the mesh, 15 rows of mesh. For the handles, which you guys can see we're doing here, we're doing single crochets. We need a total of 75 rows of single crochets for the handles. So all I'm doing is 5 single crochets all the way across. I'm going both under the front and back loop as I'm making these and just doing a total of 5 single crochets. Yes, Sparky said she's making her daughter a crossbody. You most certainly could do a crossbody version of this if you want to do a longer handle. It definitely would work perfect for that. So after I do my 5 single crochets, now I don't like to do a turning chain when I do single crochet rows. A lot of people prefer to do a single crochet, so or a chain, a turning chain. So you're going to chain one and turn. Now, some people will use this turning chain as your first single crochet and only work into the next 4. Some people like to do a single crochet in addition to that turning chain. I found that all of that looks kind of bulky. So the way that I do my single crochet when I'm working like this is I don't do a turning chain at all. I just flip my handle over and then I work single crochets, one in each of the 5 stitches. And what that does is it gives me a really nice edge on my handle. So as you're looking at the handle, you can see it's kind of nice and flat along here. But I like to elevate my game on my handles. So there's a couple different reasons why I do what I do. So when you pull on the handle, a lot of people are concerned about stretch of the handle. Okay. As I'm pulling this, yes, I'm pulling hard. Your handle does stretch. So you need to take into consideration that as you're working on your handles. And Leah has she has taken care of that for us. If you do 75, you're going to be fine. However, what I like to do is I like to come back and I like to put a little finished edge on this handle. So if we look at our green bag here, you can see where I have come back and I do a row of single crochet on both sides of the handle and just give it kind of a little polished edge. Hey Dolly, good morning. Welcome in. Um, so it takes a little extra time to do that single crochet all the way around. However, for me, it's like when you go get all dressed up and fancy, right? You've got on the little black dress, right? You're going out for cocktails, you're going to the club, whatever you're doing, right? And you're all spick and span, right? Ready to go out. And then it's like, oh, well, I need to put a finishing touch on this outfit, right? Like, am I going to put on a beautiful diamond necklace, some kind of a choker, some kind of a, something around my neck that just kind of sets it off, right? Or am I going to put on a certain pair of earrings that kind of put a little shine and flash on my outfit, right? Accessorize. That's what I think of when I do handles like this. Leaving your handle like this is perfectly acceptable. You can go out with the little black dress and not accessorize, right? But when you accessorize and then all of a sudden heads are turning because you're like, oh, yeah, that girl. That's what we're doing with our crochet. We're going to add a little finished edge on here, a little bazinga on there to make it look really fancy and pretty. So by adding a little single crochet all the way around, this is how you can start to advance from a beginner crocheter to more of an intermediate, is when you start putting those little finishing touches on your project. So it just adds a little something, something. You know what I mean? Yeah, a little bazinga, right? Is that even a word? I don't know. Bazinga. It sounds good. A little crochet bazinga. So that's what I think of when I do my single crochet all the way around. Now, the other part is not just looking hot, right? But we want it to have functionality as well. So as we look at our handles and we go back and add this single crochet, all of our single crochets we've been working are like back and forth this way. When you add a single crochet around the edge, it helps add to the stability and durability of your handle, because it's like, yeah, when they build bridges out of like triangles and arches and all that kind of stuff, and it's like the whole position of the little angles of the dangles and all the things, right? So it's the same thing when we put a single crochet in the opposite direction, is it helps to stabilize this handle and add some structural soundless to the strap. All right. So it not only is it look pretty, right? It's also very functional and really likes to do just kind of jazz it up. Now, the other thing that you could do also, which I have not done, you could entertain doing a slip stitch all the way around the edge too. A slip stitch, a lot of times, or a surface crochet will help add stability to your project as well. So, you know, those are kind of some recommendations. Obviously, if you just want to leave your strap doing the 5 single crochets, there's nothing wrong with that either. Nothing wrong with that either. So you get to choose all of these things as you're the crochet artist. I was just typing that the border around the straps creates stability in the handles. Absolutely right. Um, OTH crochet, absolutely right. That is my opinion as well. Um, Let's see. I want you to see you do a single crochet around the edge. I'm hoping we have enough time. I have 25 more minutes before I have to go to work. So I'm trying to crochet, but I don't know if I'm going to have enough time. I can kind of do a faux little thing, because we're not going to have the other handle done, and kind of just demonstrate, and then I'll have to frog it out, but it's not a big deal. I can certainly show that on the live, because I think a lot of people are interested in how I do that. Um, so I think we'll plan on doing that. We'll attach this one handle, and then we will work on that that single crochet all the way around so you guys can get a feel for it. Yes, Miss Leah said you could also do a surface crochet through the handle as well. And you totally could do that. I've done that as well. I've done that also with my Tunisian. It definitely works to add a little bit of stability to your project. Chimmy, I don't know if I said good morning. Thank you so much for the follow, my friend. Thanks for being here and hanging out. Heather and Pascar Pat, welcome in as well. Good morning. Friends, if you are new to the channel, my name is April and I'm a hobby crocheter. We're going to make this handle look pretty fancy here in just a few minutes. So let me do some counting here. We were at 50. We need a total of 75 rows of this. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. We're almost there. We have 17. We need to get to 20. And then the one at the beginning will make 50, 40, what am I saying? 75. We need 75 rows of this. Kathy, we need 75 rows for the handles. I'm counting them in groups of 2 is what I'm doing. So I counted, this is 50 rows right here. It was originally 40. I moved it up to 50. And now I need 24 more rows. Uh, and then I have one at the very beginning that I didn't include in my count. And then we'll be at 75 rows. So however you need to count, you need to get to 75 rows is what we're looking for on this handle. Then we're going to attach it to our bag. And then we're going to start going around and I'll show you guys how to do around the edge of your handles. Now, as you're doing this, I would make and attach both handles to the bag before I start going around with my single crochets. Okay. So you would definitely want to finish both your handles and get them attached to your bag. This morning, we're going to fudge a little bit because of time constraints and I have to go to work. Okay, so let me count again here and see where I'm at. So right here was 51 rows, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. I need 2 more. We got to get to 24 plus 51 will get us to 75 rows. And then I'm going to attach this to the other side of our bag. So turn my work. Again, I'm not doing any turning chain. You most certainly can if you wish, but I'm going to do 5 single crochets across. We're working under both the front and back loop for all 5 of these stitches. So here is number 5. It's so strange. I didn't get the puzzle piece this morning. I'll probably say that and then I'll get it. Okay, so 50, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. 50 plus 24 is 74. And I had one extra that I didn't count when I was doing my initial count. So I am officially at 75 rows of my handle, 75 rows of 5 single crochets. So now what we need to do is we're going to attach this to the other side of our bag here. So when I say the other side, what I mean is we're going to bring it from this side over here and we're going to attach it to this side over here. Now you will remember we marked out where those handles needed to go. So this stitch marker right here indicates the outside edge of our handle. So I'm going to snip off my work here and I'm going to give myself a long tail because we need to weave in the ends and attach this handle. Okay. So I'm going to keep it flat and I'm going to drag it through my hand and I'm going to bring it over and I'm going to attach it just like this to this side. So this last stitch right here is where I'm going to attach it to this one. And you can certainly pin this in if you are struggling to picture where this is going to be and get your stitches to line up. So I'm going to get my darning needle and I'm going to take that very long tail that we did and I'm going to do an invisible join when I attach this handle. Okay. So I'm going to line these stitches up. Now remember, we had 5 stitches across here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to line it, align it with the 5 that are down below. So I've held this one in place with my stitch marker. And then we need 1, 2, 3, 4, this stitch right here. And then I'm going to go right here into this one. Now, when I'm attaching this first side, I just go under both loops to kind of secure it and get it in place. Now I'm going to do an invisible join to seam these two together. So I'm going to come back to the other side where I came out of. And as you are looking at the stitches, we have 2 stitches right here and we have 2 stitches right here. I'm going to go down through the middle of this stitch under that loop. Then I'm going to come back up the other side so that it has kind of a crisscross here. Okay. And I'm going to pull that tight and we're going to weave these back and forth. Now I'm going to go to the other side. You see where we had these stitches right here and then these stitches? I'm going to go down through this one on the inside loop and I'm going to go up the other side through that inside loop. So again, I have a little crisscross there and I'm going to pull that close. Nikki, good morning. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the heart me. And we're going to kind of pull this. Now, you don't have to pull it tight when you're first doing it. We're just going to continue working these across for this seamless join, invisible join. Again, I'm going to go down out of the one we came out of. See how we came out of this one right here? So I'm going to go down through that loop, and then I'm going to go back up through the other side over here. Try not to catch on your other fibers so that you have kind of a little crisscross there on your needle. Then we're going to pull this closed again. Now this is the one that we came out of right here. So I'm going to go back down through that one and then up through the next one. Again, there's our little crisscross. I'm going to pull that. Now this is very loose through here. So as I get a few of these stitches, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold right here on the edge where we first joined, and I'm going to pull these and I'm going to zip it up. Okay. And what that does is it's going to put kind of a flat seam there at the very edge where our handles are getting stitched together. So now we came out of this stitch right here. We're going to go back down through that one, up the other side here. Pull that tight. Here's where we came out of, right back down in that one, up through the next. Again, keep that kind of loose. We can pop out our little stitch marker here now. We're close to the edge. This is where we came out of right here. Back up the other side. And then on the other side here, back down and up. Okay. So now I'm going to zip this up again. Now remember, hold your project right here as you're zipping it. Okay. And give this a nice sturdy pull, kind of steady, applying pressure, and you will see that get closed up together. Okay. Now, you can still see I have kind of this spread apart here on the edge. I'm going to go around both loops on the last stitch and both loops on the last stitch of the handle. And I'm going to do that a couple times. And that is going to lock in our stitch there. Okay, and pull that closed. And then I like to go under those stitches that I just made with my needle and I pull out the other side here. Okay, and that will get that handle very secure to our work. Okay, so you can see where that little seam is. Now, I don't know if this is how Leah wrote it in her pattern, guys. This is just how my mind works. So we end up with 2 little bars here on this side. This side, you can see we had our crochet stitch where we started from. So if this bothers you that they're not exactly the same, you most certainly could make a crochet handle and attach it on both sides so they both end up looking the same. However, for me, I'll be honest, I don't care. I don't care. It's totally fine. So now what we're going to do is as you're working on your project, you're going to go to the other side of your bag and you are going to make another identical handle where you do your single crochets. Again, we started with 5 single crochets and then we worked 75 rows back and forth. Now, today we're going to take a little detour because of time. I only have 15 minutes, but I want to show you guys how I finish the middle of our bag here and around the handles. So you most certainly could leave your handles with this raw unfinished edge as we have created it. However, if you would like, you could put a little polish on your edge and come back and do a little single crochet action all the way around your handles. So when I do this, I do it 2 different places. I do it both on the inside of our handle. Okay, so as we look at this, I do a single crochet all the way around, even here in the base of the bag. And then I will also do it around the outside of the handle. So when I start the inside, I go all the way around and snip off and weave in my tail. And then same thing on the other side. So you're going to end up having to do it a number of different times. But for today on the live, we're going to do this inside with the single crochet so you can see how I do this. Okay. This is going to be on we're currently live on YT right now, Caffeine. So once I'm off the live, you can go back and rewatch it from the beginning, or you can go on YT and just hit the rewind button and it'll go back. So I'm going to start with a slip stitch on my hook. Okay. I'm going to go to the middle of my bag. I kind of start over towards the edge, not in the middle. I don't start it at the very edge and I don't start it here in the middle. I want to be able to hide my seam, my tails, but I need to have this corner freed up, and it's going to make more sense as we do this once I get to this other side, because we're going to do a decrease right here in the corners as we're doing it. So I'm going to choose kind of a few stitches in, and I'm going to start with a single crochet for my very first stitch. Now I'm going to do single crochets all the way around, just like we were doing before. In every single stitch, I'm going under both the front and the back loop around the middle part of our bag, that top little section. Okay. And I'm going to go all the way over to the handle. So a lot of single crochets here. Oh, Caffeine Court. Yes, you'll be able to watch the replay over on YT. So my handle over there is Wheeler 8 Acres. We are also live streaming right now our bird feeders, the deer camera, the pasture camera. If anybody is on YT right now, there are currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think 7 deer in the pasture right now running around. And you can see those over on YT. And we're also live streaming a tree swallow camera right now. The tree swallows are nesting here at our property, so you can see those as well. There might be 8 deer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh yeah, I think there's 8 deer out in the pasture right now. Oh dear. So, Lady P, good morning. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the heart me. I know a lot of people joined on. Sorry, I missed saying hello to some of y'all when you were joining on. We were doing quite a bit of stitch talk. So I'm slowly working my way over to the handles that we attached. Okay, so you can kind of see that here. I have 2 more stitches before we get to the handle. Now, as we joined the handle, you can see this right here is what we would consider a 90-degree angle. Okay. As we are doing this area right here, what we're going to do is we're going to do 2 together single crochets so that we can round this corner, so to speak. And the way that I do that is I go under the first 2 loops of that first stitch and I bring up a loop. Then I go over to this first stitch where we attached and I go under those loops and pull up a loop. So now I have 3 loops on my hook. Then I yarn over and I pull through all 3. So what that does is it kind of allows us to go around the corner right here. Now, see how there's that bump there in my crochet? I don't like how that looks. So I'm going to actually frog this back a little bit. Let's see if I can do a better job of hiding where that little bump is and make our work look just a little prettier. Maybe if I kind of go down into this area, it might look a little better and we can kind of disguise that a little more. So let's do this here, 3 together, and then let's start up the sides with we resume back with our single crochet. So that bump is a little better hidden now. It's not quite so obvious. Okay. So now we're ready to start up the handle. So as we worked the handles, you'll remember we did 2 rows of single crochet. This is one row. This is another row. You can kind of see how they match up here. What I'm going to do is along the side right here, I'm going to put a single crochet on the edge of each of these rows. So I'm going to go 2 by 2 and work all the way around with the single crochets. So this is our first stitch right here. Again, it's kind of hard to see. Some of it you just kind of feel your way and find that space. As you do a few of them, you're going to start to see that pattern of where to put your hook. And after you've done this a bajillion times, like I have, it'll be very obvious where you're putting that hook. This is another reason why I do not do the turning chain when I'm doing my single crochets, because what it does is it muddies the water. And what I mean by that is when I have a turning chain, it makes it so that the edge is not so obvious. And if I skip that turning chain, then it becomes very clear I'm working here and here, and it's really easy to do. So that's another reason why I don't like to do that turning chain when I work single crochets for a strap like this. Tracy, good morning. Welcome in. Kathy, thank you so much for sharing the live. Friends, we are working on the um, choose your own adventure tote. Today is the last day of working on this tote bag. We're going to have it finished and I'll be posting a video. Of course, today we've only had time to do one handle. Vicki, have a great day. Thanks so much for being here this morning. So you can see how that is starting to look now, and we're getting a nice polished, finished edge on our strap. Again, this looks totally fine, but when you take a moment and put that, can you see how that elevates your work a little bit? It's like just putting on that pair of earrings to really accessorize your outfit and giving it that wow factor. So that's what I think of as I'm doing these. And it doesn't take long to go all the way around. It's so worth it. It's so, so worth it, I think. But again, it's not a requirement. And I don't even think this part is written in the pattern. But as you know, old Wheeler, she likes to give you some little tricks and magic for your crochet. So this is your little tip today is really elevate your project by doing a row of single crochet around the handles. It's nothing like earth shaking or anything, but it might be something that you would want to incorporate into your projects. And I'm just going to continue going all the way around until we get to the other side. And then I will snip off and weave in our tails. So it is definitely a way to put a little polish on your project. But I just wanted to, again, uh, give a shout out to our wonderful Lea Pin Llamas who made this pattern. It is an FREE pattern. It is called the Choose Your Own Adventure Tote. The last 3 lives, we have been working on the mesh option for the tote bag. She also has a V-stitch and a granny stitch that was released with the original version of the Choose Your Own Adventure. So you most certainly could choose a different adventure if you wish. She is also working actively on being able to publish new chapters soon to come. I think she's going to try to release quarterly a new chapter to the pattern where we will have additional stitches that we can use for the tote bag. So it's very, very exciting. I'm super proud of her and all of the effort and work that she has put into this pattern. I also appreciate the fact that she has let me come on the live and make this pattern for y'all so that you can kind of see some of the tricks and tips as we've been working it. So I'm extremely proud, and she does an amazing job as a moderator here on my channel. She also moderates for Magical Unicorn, Miss Maggie, who you guys all know on the weekends. And she just is a wonderful, beautiful soul, in addition to being so absolutely creative and amazing. So I can't say enough good things. She's probably over there in tears, but seriously, check out her pattern if you want. It's really a very cool thing. So I've made it all the way around the handle. Again, this is where we started right here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to round the corner here as we're coming around. So I'm going to do what is considered a decrease stitch around this corner of the handle, because again, this is a 90-degree angle. If I put a crochet stitch here and one here, what it's going to do is it's going to make your corner very bulky. Okay, so the way that I do this is I go into the very last stitch here and I pull up a loop as if I was going to make my single crochet. Then I come down here to the base of the bag and I start another single crochet so that we have 3 loops on our hook. This is basically a 2 together single crochet. Then I yarn over and I will pull this loop underneath all 3 loops. Now you can see we have a couple more stitches here before we finish back to where we started. Okay, and now I'm going to snip off. Give yourself a long tail. We're going to do an invisible join here to tie off our work. So I snip off and I pull my loop of my yarn through that crochet stitch. Then I get my needle, which has magically disappeared. Oh, here it is. Oh, it's still on my bag. Let me pull this off before I lose it. Okay, so then we're going to get our darning needle, and I'm going to do an invisible join here on our edge of our blanket because I want to give this, again, a very nice polished look to finish this seam out. So what I do, this is the first stitch right here. I actually am going to skip this first stitch and I'm going to work under the second stitch right here that I made. I'm going to put my needle under both the front and back loop of my stitch. Okay. And then I'm going to pull through. And I want this to be about the size of a crochet stitch. Okay. So however long this guy is right here, I try to make this the same size. Then what I do is I bring my needle back to where we came out of in the stitch. So you see how we came out of the middle of the stitch right here? I'm going to go back down through the middle to complete that stitch. And I do have to kind of pull on this sometimes to get it to align so that it is the same size. When you do that, it looks exactly like the top of a crochet stitch, and it'll make it so that your work is fabulous, stunning, beautiful. And now I'm going to continue to weave in this tail. So I will go down through these stitches along the back. I'm not going all the way through, and I'm going to weave this in back and forth several times in opposite directions. So they need to oppose directions. Susie, have a great day. Thanks for hanging out. Oh, Miss Maggie's here. Good morning, Maggie. Welcome in. We were just talking about you. I hope you're having a good day. If y'all are not following the fabulous magical unicorn, y'all are missing out. Don't know what else to say about that. What are you even doing with your lives? Seriously. Okay, so get that all aligned into place. And then we're going to weave this back and forth. Again, I gave myself a very long tail. When I sew these in, I try not to sew it in up here at the top. I will bring the tail down kind of to the base of where I did these single crochets to try to disguise that weaving in of the tail and make it look really pretty down here so that you can't see it. I'm trying to split these fibers as I work along and really work that needle in between those yarn strands. Okay, so then I pull through, and again, I kind of pull on it a little. You don't want it to be too tight. Now I'm going to go back the other direction. So I kind of wrap around some yarn here and I work back again, trying very hard to split those fibers and get that kind of nestled in there all the way back across. Then I'm going to go back the other direction again. I do this a minimum of 3 times, working back and forth. A lot of times I will find I even will do more than that. So again, you can't really overdo this, but you want it to look very nice in your work as well and be disguised and hidden. So again, we're working on the inside of the bag here where I'm working this tail. And let's see if I can do it one more time just for good measure. Um, this tail right here, we had a knot, but this tail that I'm doing this invisible join, it was not knotted, not knotted. So we want to make sure to get that really tucked in there and secured. So this will be the last pass through, and then I can snip off this tail, and we will consider that golden. So snippety snip, all woven in. So now as we look at our handle here, again, this is the inside we went around. And so you can see we now have this beautiful finished edge on the inside. This edge we have not done that treatment to. So obviously you can see how it's a little more rough and not as smooth, not as fancy. We've done an invisible seam right here, so you can't even see where I joined my work or where I started. And that pretty much finishes up how you will do the top of your bag. So I hope this has been helpful the last few days as we've been making this tote bag. Again, this is the choose your own adventure tote. The bottom stays the top, the bottom stays the same, the top stays the same. And of course, we're choosing whatever stitch we want here in the middle. So again, shout out to our fabulous friend, Miss Lea Pin Llamas. I can't say enough good things. She is amazing. Check out her pattern. Tomorrow, we're going to be working on a baby blanket. We're going to be working on a scallop border. So it's one of the questions I get asked a lot is how I do my scallop border. So that is what we have on deck for tomorrow. I hope you all have a wonderful Wednesday. It's hump day, y'all. We'll see you back on Friday Eve. Thank you all so much for all of the gifts, likes, shares, all the screen taps, all the things. Thanks for watching. Special shout out to our friends on YouTube that are watching as well this morning. Have a great day, everyone. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye for now.